Many Americans are misinformed about conflict in the Middle East. Many people believe that Middle Eastern people are just angry, violent people who hate the United States. However, that is not entirely true. One country in particular, Iran, has had some history with the United States in the past that led to this type of conflict, and it is debatable that the United States may be at fault or it might be Iran's fault. The origin of the conflict between these two nations is nuclear weapons. At first, the United States and what was known as Persia at the time worked in close collaboration once a nuclear program was established in Iran. The Shah, or monarch of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, began the nuclear program in the 1950s. The United States was run under the Eisenhower administration at the time, and Iran and the U.S. formed the Atoms for Peace program. Under the agreement, the United States agreed to supply Iran with a nuclear research reactor. Then, Iran signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty in 1967. With the U.S. nuclear research reactor functioning, Iran joined the other 50 countries that agreed to not become a nuclear weapons state. All was well between the United States and Iran at that point. However, things quickly changed. The Islamic Revolution, also known as the Iranian Revolution, occurred in 1979, where the people were trying to overthrow the Pahlavi dynasty. They were unhappy with the Shah's rule, the exile of Ayatollah Khomeini, a leader of the revolution and a religious and political leader, and other social injustices. All of this led up to the revolution in 1979. So, what is the United States' involvement in all of this? The United States supported the Shah and tried to help quell rebellions in Iran. Then, when Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi was overthrown and fled the country, and an Islamic republic was put into government, a newfound hatred for the United States emerged in Iran. And that is when the conflict began. The nuclear program in Iran was taken over by Shapur Bakhtiar, the new leader, and he proceeded to cancel the building of two nuclear power plants at the Bushehr complex, which was a $6.2 billion contract. The United States stopped supplying Iran with uranium and goes back on the Atoms for Peace program that was made under the Eisenhower administration. Tension begins to build between the two nations. All of this hatred in Iran led to the Iranian hostage crisis in 1979 to 1981, where 52 American diplomats and citizens from the United States Embassy were held hostage for 444 days. Iranian students that supported the Iranian Revolution took over the embassy and held the Americans hostage. Conflict continued to emerge between the two nations when the old Shah, who had recently been overthrown, came to the U.S. for medical treatment. Iran demanded that Mohammad Reza Pahlavi be returned to Iran so he could be tried for the crimes he committed during his reign. However, the United States refused. Then, the United States attempted to rescue the hostage in an operation called Operation Eagle Claw. However, the mission was not successful. It resulted in 8 deaths of American military personnel, 1 civilian casualty, and 2 annihilated aircraft. Finally, the United States and Iran began negotiations after Iraq invaded Iran in the Iran-Iraq War, which was from 1980 to 1988. Algeria arbitrated the situation, and finally the hostages were set free in America after the signing of the Algiers Accords.
Families and an entire nation had been waiting 444 days to see the first glimpse of the hostages out of captivity.
Frank, there we are.
Yes.
That is Elizabeth Swift, I believe, on the left, and Catherine Cove just behind her, coming off, 2 of them wearing their yellow ribbons, holding...
The United States and Iran avoid each other for a decent amount of time. However, the nuclear program in Iran restarts in 1984 during the Iran-Iraq War because Iran believes Saddam Hussein was preparing their nuclear weapons to use against them. They receive help in their nuclear program from the Pakistani scientist Abdul Qadir Khan. The next big event in their nuclear program is in 1995, where Iran and Russia signed an $800 million contract to begin the development of a light water reactor at the Bushehr nuclear plant over 4 years. Meanwhile, the U.S. feels Iran is a threat because they are building up their nuclear weapons and convinces Argentina, France, Spain, India, and Germany to stop selling nuclear technology to Iran's nuclear program. Then, in 1996, Bill Clinton signed a bill imposing sanctions on the investments of foreign corporations after hearing that Iran might have been building a nuclear weapon of sorts. Iran is angry with the U.S.'s inquiries and believes they should not be involved in their nuclear program and don't have the right to intervene. In 2002, Mujahideen Khalq discovers hidden documents that were hidden from the United Nations in Iran. The U.S. accuses Tehran of trying to create nuclear weapons, across-the-board pursuit of weapons of mass destruction. Iran is angered by these accusations, and once again tension builds between the two nations. However, the United States has no hard evidence proving that Iran is doing something wrong, so there are no immediate effects. However, for some reason in 2003, the nuclear program is once again suspended. In 2005, the United States attempts to prove that Iran is planning something pertaining to nuclear weapons. The United States cannot prove anything. However, in 2013, rather recently, Iran states that they plan on expanding their nuclear program. It is hard to tell if Iran has any ulterior motives and where this could lead. They say history repeats itself, and conflict has emerged many times in the past between the United States and Iran. Iran and the U.S., two different worlds.